So we're going to put a bow on this Carson Wentz discussion and how the injury was handled right after reacting to the latest updates from both KOC and Carson Wentz himself. So Carson Wentz by halftime should have been replaced by Max Brosmer to finish the rest of the game. Not just because, okay, you're not doing anything productive offensively, but also the fact that Carson Wentz was in severe pain to where it was going to affect his game. But KOC, his response to the critics saying that he should have taken Carson Wentz out of the game, he said, hey, you know what? This guy is a warrior. He wanted to get back out there. In fact, let's listen to KOC in his own words.
But at the same time, there is a mentality to the quarterback position where when a guy is so committed and so all in and does not want to be taken off the field, you have to honor that. I don't know if it's the former quarterback in me or not, or Josh McCown as his quarterback coach, having been in the arena the way Josh was as a quarterback in the NFL for a long time. You want to give the Warrior a chance to kind of exhaust those opportunities, and once again, knowing that he couldn't make it worse and knowing inevitably he would have to get it fixed. And while JJ was working his way back, you wanted to make sure we gave him every opportunity to do that. I'm really proud of Carson, and we'll forever have.
Quote, when a guy is so committed and so all in and does not want to be taken off the field, you have to honor that. No, you don't, KOC. You don't. I mean, you could. Certainly you chose that route, option A, against the Chargers with Carson Wentz. Okay, fine. But there was always option B. As in, sometimes as a head coach, duty calls for you to have to protect a player, even if it's from himself. I want to go in and I want to keep playing. And I understand that. That's very courageous of you. No one can ever question your toughness. But you left Wentz in that game longer than what he should have ended up playing. Halftime, Max Brosmer should have started the second half, or the decision at halftime should have been made in the locker room to start Max Brosmer in the second half. Instead, KOC, as the head coach of all 53 players on the roster, you chose to put honor ahead of Wentz's own health and well-being, as well as choosing honor over what's best for the team. That at halftime in the locker room, you should have made the decision to start Max Brosmer. Not to say in the second half, not to say that you would have came back and won that game against the Chargers, but that if nothing else, it's an opportunity to give Brosmer valuable reps, especially going into next season, regardless of JJ McCarthy, that Max Brosmer can be your certified QB2 that you can feel good about to have to play if JJ McCarthy gets hurt again, which so far that has been the case 2 years straight. That was the more sensible thing to do. Instead, you didn't do that. This whole when a guy is so committed and so all in and does not want to be taken off the field, you have to honor that. No, you as the head coach has to step in and make the big boy decisions. That quote is bullshit. JJ McCarthy returning after missing the last 5 games, and we got to see an extended period of time where he's playing in consecutive games, preferably the final 10 games of the regular season. And we need to see some sort of progression because, and I've talked about this before, the gap between these young quarterbacks, first, second year quarterbacks in the league right now, the gap between them and JJ McCarthy is, it's as wide as a 4-lane highway. JJ McCarthy has a lot of catching up to do. So hopefully, if he can stay healthy and show some level of progression, you feel good about his chances going into 2026 that you'll see even more progression and preferably a healthy season, or something happens as far as if he gets injured again at some point the rest of this season, or you don't see much progression at all next year, you have to strongly consider bringing in quarterback competition, or maybe not necessarily bring in quarterback competition because you may already have it in-house with Max Brosmer. Plus, the fact is, there's not going to be a good quarterback in free agency that you can invest in. But also, this draft class is just, as far as the quarterback position, this draft class is just not it. So you may have that going into next year with Max Brosmer. You just need to see what you have from all of your players, especially at the quarterback position, because we have no idea who JJ McCarthy can eventually be. This video is brought to you by Sleeper. New customers at Sleeper playing daily fantasy sports. Sign up, get a free $20 entry with no deposit required, or your first deposit, get a 100% match up to $100 using the promo code RANDY. Terms and conditions do apply. Check out Sleeper today. In other news, the trade deadline, we are just on the horizon of. Should the Vikings be buyers or sellers? Who should they go after? I don't think they should be buyers at all. They need to retain every draft pick and really try to acquire more draft picks to stockpile going into 2026, because you're not going to be a contender this year. You're not a contender this year. It's all about development and getting ready for the following season, getting as many reps with certain players as you can. But they should be sellers, I would say. First off, I mean, you're going to have to get off the Hockenson contract, whether you end up cutting him at season's end or if you can find someone to trade for him. The thing is, there's so much film on him after coming back from his injury last year that he hasn't made much of an impact. He hasn't been the same guy. In fact, the way that the tight end position is going the last couple of years, I mean, Sam Laporta, Brock Bowers, what's the guy from Penn State, Tyler Warren, the way that it's going, you have all of these young tight ends coming into the league and making an immediate impact that, man, that's going to have to be a position that you're going to have to address in the draft as well. But the juice is no longer with the squeeze when it comes to TJ Hockenson in that contract. It's time to move on. But if you can find somebody to trade for him, hell, for a 5th, 6th round pick, go ahead and do that. Also, Jalen Naylor. I mean, you already have Jefferson, Addison, and I mean, the thought was that maybe you could get Ty Felton up into the mix, but a wide receiver 3, I would imagine, is a lot simpler to address, whether it's in free agency or the draft. But then again, the way that this front office has operated, who knows? But I would say you can probably get a 3rd, 4th round pick. Best case scenario, a 3rd round pick for Jalen Naylor. They should be sellers, not buyers. Vikings. Moving on to some other news. Vikings signed QB3, John Wolford. I have no idea who that is, but he's the emergency quarterback, so you're probably not going to see him out there on the field at any point this season, the rest of the way. And AVG was a full participant. He said his goal is to play on Sunday. That is according to Ben Gessling. And man, I didn't realize the play that Andrew Van Ginkel got injured on, but here it is. Gets on the outside, jumps, makes the play, pass deflection, and then gets flipped over mid-air. Lands on his head. That's tough. Not only was that tough, but on the positive note, that was a hell of a play. Andrew Van Ginkel right there. He is so damn good. If he can get back onto the field Sunday against the Lions, that would be huge. But how many plays does he make in that exact position where he's out there on the edge making a play on the ball? Even if he can't get to the quarterback, he leaps up, makes a play on the ball, whether it's a pass deflection, a pass breakup, or if it's an interception. In some cases, an interception return for a touchdown. So that's what we've got currently going on in Vikings Nation. Wentz wanted to get back out there on the field. KOC said, well, you have to honor that. You don't. That just goes to show he really doesn't know what he's doing with practically anything with that team. JJ McCarthy returning after missing the last 5 games. Trade market, sellers, not buyers. AVG, potential chance that he comes back on Sunday. We will see you next time.